I believe that we are natural born creatives. If you're human, you're an artist at work or at play. So what you said to me is the key to creativity in many ways when we get closer to our unique expression. Because creativity is by definition original. What's more original than you? If it looks like somebody else's thing, then it probably isn't yours. So comparison is a creativity killer. I'm spirited. As far as I can remember, I've always been very intense. I prefer to admit that I don't know than to know things. I find it much more interesting to not know. I feel like that's where the realm of possibilities live. I have given myself the space to explore and experiment a lot more than I ever have before. And even though it feels really scary and frightening sometimes, it also feels thrilling and like really kind of being alive. The universe has a much wilder imagination than I do. And that helps me open to possibility when I'm not, scared shitless. What happens if I let it go? I think most of the time we notice that life kind of steps in, things resolve themselves. And I can see how you honor all your values in doing exactly what you're doing. I just heard help, impact, connection, curiosity, creativity, and exploration. If anyone has any questions they want to put to me or to you about this episode or anything we discussed therein, if that's okay with you, I'd say bring it.
Welcome to another episode of the Oliver Schirach Show. I'm so thrilled that you're here because today's conversation is going to be a good one. On my podcast, we dive into the stories, ideas, and moments that shape our world. And each episode, I sit down with fascinating guests, thinkers, creators, doers, spiritual beings, and dreamers who aren't afraid to share what it really matters to them to be authentic, creative, and go for their dreams. What can you expect on my episodes? Honest conversations, unexpected insights, and a few surprises along the way. My goal is to leave you feeling a little bit more curious, a little bit more connected, and a lot more inspired. Today we are diving into what it really matters to live a creative life, not just as an artist, but as a human that designs his or her own life. You'll meet Pia Mailhot-Leichter, which is a creative partner, coach, and author who believes that every one of us is a natural born creative. We explore how creativity isn't just about making art. It's about shaping our experiences, honoring our values, and embracing the wild, unpredictable journey of being alive. We'll talk about the power of curiosity and connection and how our deepest values like freedom, family, and growth can guide us through life's biggest decisions and obstacles. We also get really real about fears and doubts that will come with chasing our dreams. We get a little bit of coaching for me done, so in between like half an hour to 1 hour of the podcast, you'll see the step-by-step process Pia uses to coach people. If you've ever wondered how to balance your dreams with your responsibilities and how to get unstuck from the situations you are and move forward, this episode will be definitely for you. Get ready to laugh, get some deep insights, and a few aha moments. Without any further ado, welcome, Pia. There we go. There was no welcome and recording in progress. We are here in Denmark.
Woohoo!
2 times Denmark, Copenhagen and Herning in English, I think. Herning in Danish. And I'm sitting here with Pia and her creative calling club, or what was it called? Right?
The creative club, but sure, it's also the creative. I like the creative calling club. We can use that too.
The CCC.
Yeah, there you go.
And you reached out to me because you saw something into you, and I said, let's do it. And we are jumping into the cold water on the deep end. We said no pre-call. We had some chat. Eventually, I'm going to open that for the public. If I reach 1 million subscribers, so people subscribe. And we're
doing the Wim Hof method.
Yeah, I did that as well. My ex-wife didn't like it because she thought I'm having some sexual sounds during the breathe in, breathe out. Uh, my kids loved it. My kids really thought it was fun, like right. Um, it's, it's actually releasing. Sometimes really good.
Sound is important. We forget that we're human beings. We're meant to make sound other than language, like to express through sound, like, and and not only in bed, that too, but in other areas. And it's a release. It's such a release. I use that in my movement practice, and I just does something just to, like you.
I didn't know you have like movement practice for yourself or for people you're
No,
guiding.
it's for me, for my own movement practice, but it's just, it uses we sound as well. And it's just been really therapeutic because sound is also energy. So you're moving energy out of your body as you also move your body and shift your energy. And I just found the combination really powerful. And also I went to the sauna for the first time in a really long time. There's one in my neighborhood that just opened up. And the minute I went to the ice cold bath, it helped me to go, like people looked at me funny, but it was just sound kind of helped, like, like, all right.
That's the Viking. That's the Viking spirit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Next year I see you with two axes and standing on a cliff and jumping into the ice bath like. "Rah!"
oh, that's doubtful. Remember, I was doing a sauna goose. So that meant that I would go back into the sauna room.
Oh, you
So
made a
it was,
goose like the
yeah, I made
first
a
time in a
goose. It
long
was
time with
so
goose,
good.
with
Yeah.
smells, oils, and everything, or just
Smells,
water.
oils, a speaker
Yeah.
in the goose itself, and this guy took us on a meditative, like, house music kind of bass journey, and he was really good. His name was Oscar. He was great, and I was just like, yes, 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 more of this, please. And then so three sessions of like 13, 14 minutes, and then the ice bath in between, or the cold bath, to be honest, not ice.
Now, because I'm also in Denmark, and it's kind of like, yeah, Wim Hof kind of pushed it. When I came to Denmark, there was not much sauna and cold bath and stuff. In Switzerland, there's much more, or has been. Uh, has it been outdoors, the cold bath, or was it like an indoors swimming?
This one's kind of cool. It's literally a couple of blocks from my house, and the sauna itself looks a bit like an old Merce container, but it's not a Merce container. It just has the shape of a container, and it's wood on the inside. And so it's long, and the ceilings are higher. And it's just like in the middle of this concrete backyard, like bump. And then there's showers. And then because I live in Nova Vest, it's like an old former industrial area. And then there's a pool, like a little literal pool with cold water in it. So you're outside, but
Okay.
it's a pool
Yeah, but
in, like,
the pool outside. No,
yeah,
because
outside.
here in Herning in Fuglsangsø, bird singing lake or whatever, it's Baggersee. How do you call that in English? They were digging here for the sand for the motorway, so
Okay.
eventually it was filling up with water because it was a more mossy region with a lot of humidity, and now it must be 4 or 5 years ago they built this sauna, changing room, meeting room,
Cool.
kayak storage
Cool.
place. And there was the gulbell end, so the yellow swimming ducks, or bathtub ducks, the little
Yeah.
squeaky ducks. They did already winter bathing before. I don't know when they started, 2016, 17. Wim Hof got famous with Tim Ferriss' show.
Yeah.
Before he was on the Joe Rogan, I think Tim Ferriss kind of made him really famous. And that was in 2015. So somewhere there. And they were the first ones to rent out. And now it's the Herning swimming pool has also. So there are two groups. And we also have Sauna Goose. And I'm in the Sauna Goose team, volunteer there.
So cool. So you run the goose, or
I'm assisting at the moment. But the
that's
guy
very
which has
cool.
been doing it before let me, and the other guy. So we are like three guys now, where before one guy was doing it. And yeah, there's a last time. I have to double check which weekend, because on the 30th of April it's closing until the 1st of September because it's in the lake. And
Okay.
then you have to go to DGI, yeah, or the Swimmerhalle,
Yeah.
where they have a sauna with. But yeah, so we do, and when we do it with the club, we have three different people, like three sessions you can book in. And one of them is really like hardcore, and he also did some Wim Hof in between. So you had like the sauna goes, you went in the water and then up, and it was kind of windy and like a Wim Hof breath, and then back into the sauna and back into the water. And in the group I am, it's more chilled. Right? It's the first one of the evening, and we take it easy, and we have some
Sounds good.
easy music.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, so
If Hanning wasn't 3 hours away, I might come by.
I thought the same of Copenhagen, because you also have sauna in the middle of the city, not in Christiania, but also at the ocean. The different places, I think.
Yeah, there are a few.
Yeah, it got more popular. But this podcast is not about the sauna goes. People, yeah, you can see we have some fun energy here, and we didn't know each other before, so that's always cool. So yeah, you reached out because of a book. I have to say, so much happened the last 3 weeks. I only read the intro, but that was like so creatively written. Like, who the heck writes like that? Cool. Awesome. I like the intro, and it also shows a spiritual path, letting go, a breakage, destruction to rebirth the new. Like the
Yes.
There we go. And but let's go in. Like, we don't really know each other, and I like to break the ice. So with like asking questions, for the people to describe themselves. Like, I normally ask to describe yourself with 3 words, and what are these 3 words, and why would you choose them, with a little backstory. And sometimes it's 30 minutes backstory, but it doesn't have to be that long. It's just 3 words to describe yourself now, and why you choose those words.
Well, the 3 words that pop, I'm just going to share the words that pop up, like fire, air, and the Fool. But the Fool's card in tarot?
In tarot, I just know the normal playing card.
The Fool is like yeah, it has a little bit of a different meaning, but we'll get into that. I don't know why those 3 words popped up, but that's what popped up.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you a story, but
fire, air, Fool. Like, okay, fire. What is it? Is it the fire within you, or
fire? I have a lot of drive, so I have a lot of energy. I'm spirited. Like, I've always, as far as I can remember, I've always been very intense. I remember as a kid, that kind of used to bother me when I was younger. People say, like, you're quite intense, aren't you? And I guess that's how my energy was like expressed, right? This like intensity, or this kind of drive and this curiosity. I can light a match under stuff and make it happen for my own life and for other people, I'm discovering. So that's an energy that I feel, or an element I feel really connected to.
Now, astrology-wise, are you Leo, Aries, or Sagittarian? Because that's
I'm a Gemini, so I'm actually air. Yeah, but that comes next.
There we go.
Yeah. So air is, I have a lot of ideas. I daydream. I'm creative, just like every single human out there. I'm an artist at play. So I can kind of be up in the air at the same time. And I like those 2 qualities because they're very different. So I can be in the realm of ideas and thought and imagination and like daydreams and kind of la-di-da, like floaty, in the air, just kind of in the ether, not on the ground, not in amongst the stars, but kind of just in between. And I've noticed that these 2, when air and fire combine, it's like combustible, it spreads. So it's even though they're different, when things are in alignment, they can work well together.
That's when you're in tune with yourself, so you're grounded. And I'm going to Ayurvedic yoga with a South Indian teacher. So we learn about the doshas, air, fire, water, like Pitta, Kapha, Vata.
What are you?
It's difficult. You don't see my big hands and round shoulders and the the veins. So I'm tridoshic, but thanks to the lot of wind, I think I got a little bit out of whack and have too much vata. So my vata is higher than the rest, and it should be just below it. So kapha pitta should be the dominant, and vata just slightly below. So I'm tridoshic, which
Okay.
is, it's not like what it's the aim of this life. We have our architecture, we have our design. We should not try to be someone else. And
Yes.
for me to balance all the elements, it really means if I go wacky on one side, if I get too much fire in me, like that
Yes.
could be caffeine and cinnamon and I don't know, all these kind of fiery things, then I'm going far off there. But I think being in Denmark with all the wind and everything, that has kind of destabilized me a bit. So I'm, then you get ADHD, too much thoughts. You're not grounded.
Mm.
You're going everywhere. You cannot keep on that drive. And I'm still searching my center, because I
Mm.
think having all elements, it's good and bad, but that means you have the drive, you have the ideas, and you also have the patience if you're
Mm.
grounded. All right.
I think maybe finding our center is a continuous practice. It reminds me of Taoism, where I love that line so much. How much effort does it take to achieve a state of effortlessness? That's something I've been wrangling a lot in my life. And I think, just to add to the complexity of the question, is we have to ask ourselves that question every morning, because our energy changes every day. It's not like you've answered the question. I mean, I think most of the teachings that we're exposed to are just questions and finding our way to live inside of them, rather than necessarily come to fast and fixed answers that would make us feel more secure, but would probably not be really it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. This, what you just said now, it's like our school system, at least in the Western world, is like, here's the answer, here's the solution.
Yeah.
Have you learned it? Okay, now can you repeat it? Good. You're
Yeah.
a good student. You're a good
Mm.
person. Where natives, indigenous tribes all have the same kind of drive. Like, repeatedly ask yourself. You're developing. You're changing. You're moving. We think. I mean, at least it changed a bit. But my grandparents, they had one job. They started at 20 and they got pensioned at 65. Most likely the same company.
Yeah.
That changed, obviously, but it also comes with a lot of stress and breakdowns, and that's where we go there. So, but now I know you're the air element, probably astrology or Ayurvedic or whatever. And the Fool, why the Fool?
I don't know why that came up. I think I prefer to admit that I don't know than to know things, than to say, like, I know. I find it much more interesting to not know. I feel like that's where the realm of possibilities live. When we know, it's like, okay, well, I know the answer, so then I don't have to be open to anything else. I can remain fixed where I am. And that feels very close to me. So in that way, I'm like honoring the Fool. And the Fool also is very optimistic. It's like we're starting off on a journey. We don't know where we're going to go. And maybe it's foolish, right? Because we don't know, but we go anyway. We start anyway. We create anyway. And so I think there's something beautiful about the Fool, this idea of, I don't know, let's see. And this kind of optimism, and way of just entering and being in the world without necessarily knowing.
Yes, that's beautiful. Very interesting. The Fool for me triggered because my friend in Texas has been asking me many times, the universal joker, the universal fool, how he tricks, the universal trickster kind of. That came in my head. But your answer with this, I prefer not to admit that I don't know. I have the feeling, me included, right? I tried to convince people and told my friends, like, I don't want that, but
Mm,
it's kind of like a default. When people share stuff, I try to share my knowledge and have the feeling like I'm gonna help them, but then I
mm,
want to convince them or
mm.
change their opinion, which is not what we should do, but I still do it. But I get more and more aware of it when I'm doing it. So kind of that's the path.
What motivates you to do it? What's the motivation behind it?
The thing that comes up when I ask myself is always insecurity, right?
Mm.
It's like you need to feel secure somehow, because now you know, right? Because now
Mm.
you're on the right path, or
Mm.
whatever it is.
I heard another perspective as well, which is wanting to help.
Yeah, that's
Just
according.
wanted to offer you another one because I heard that might be one, but I heard another one too.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that one. That would be my human design. My number 5 in human design is the helper.
There you go. So it could come from that place.
Yeah, I have a few friends which say you're not narcissistic or egoistic, and you only share so much because you want to help.
Hmm.
I have a few friends which see it that way. Others say I'm just annoying, and
Well, I think, I don't know. Shout out to my husband who used to do this a lot. He would often, if I would share something, I don't know if this is a male female thing, but I would share something I was going through, and often I think most of us are not looking for advice. That's what I've come to believe or understand. Could be wrong, unless someone specifically asks for it. Unless someone says, "Hey, can you give me advice on something?" Then that's a different story. But most of the time, if people don't say that, I think they just looking to be heard and seen.
exactly.
And so sometimes when my husband would say like, "Oh, well, I have the solution for you," and of course he wants to help. He's coming from a place where he wants to help, right? But I expressed that doesn't feel like help to me. I just actually want to be seen. Just want you to hear me out, you know. And so now sometimes before we talk, we'll say like, what do you, when we remember, like, what do you need before we're about to get into a deeper conversation, a hug, an ear, a voice, like, what is it? And that can be helpful.
Yes, that's true. I can see I don't know. I think I'm mostly extrovert, and what I read about one of the description of extrovert is once you get energy being together with other people. But the other one is also extroverts are more tendentially talking while they're thinking. It's kind of like,
Mm,
you talk, and by talking you kind of
processing.
process the things, where an
Mm.
introvert just sits in the corner and everything goes on in the head.
I've discovered later in life that I'm an ambivert.
Which we most likely are, all of us to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these polar definitions can be divisive sometimes and don't honor all aspects of ourselves. Because I can be very extroverted, but I also need my own time to recharge. I need to like plug in my battery and be alone and write or walk or just have that space because I'm fire. Now because I'm like present and I'm engaged and I'm energetic, I also need to like then have that quiet time. And I think
Yeah,
both things can coexist.
yeah. I mean, there's already this short talk gives me a lot of points I can go deeper. But yes, I have the same, and then you have to honor to recharge, because you forget to recharge. And I
Totally.
think when you're then so tired, then either you have no thoughts at all, which is kind of like where we want to go, or you have then time to rethink. But while I'm together with people and sharing, and I want to grow, then I cannot just think in the head. Like, why don't you think first before you ask or say? I'm like, no, because I'm with you, and it just comes out, and it kind of wants to be processed
Mm.
through talking.
What makes no thoughts the place you want to be?
Just sometimes for the quietness and just the recharging, instead of
Ruminating.
ruminating.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had like several languages now mixed in one.
that happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, ruminating around and not getting quiet.
Mm.
Like yesterday, I was tired, went to bed, and suddenly the thoughts just came. Like, that's not
Mm.
time for thoughts now. It's time to sleep and relax and get up early. But
But that's interesting. This is like an invitation to get curious. Like, what are the thoughts? What's poking at you? Can you capture it on a piece of paper and say, "Okay, I can get back to you later"? Like, what were the thoughts?
yeah, I cannot say anymore. But
Okay.
sometimes they're like going crazy everywhere. They start
Mm.
somewhere and end somewhere completely else. But that's my out of balance vata, or ADHD, as you can say. So that's super. We have the first three words. Now let's see. You're very creative and a lot of fire and ideas. If you would be the new color in a coloring box, what color would you be and why?
A new color in a coloring box.
I mean, it could also be a red, blue, green, but it could also be, I don't know, pinkle,
Uh,
sprinkle,
uh, I'm going to say a ripe fig,
a ripe fig.
the color of a ripe fig.
Okay,
I
what's
would call it ripe fig.
okay?
It's like a very deep purple,
Yeah,
very dark and deep purple.
and why that color?
Mm, it's just the first color that popped up, but I like the depth of darker colors. Also reminded me of a bruise in a good way. In a good way, like you've lived life, you're bruised up, you're ripe, you've busted open. You're almost in full bloom, but you've bloomed as well. You've done the thing.
Okay, so were you kind of like one of these girls which came home with all kind of bruises because
Yeah.
of climbing up trees and falling down? I don't know what.
Well, I don't know about climbing up trees because I grew up in Manhattan and Brooklyn, but yeah, definitely, I came home with scratches and bruises. I don't know. I guess most kids did or do.
Yeah, I have my daughter. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, I hope no one looks at your legs and like ask what your parents are doing with you. All blue and green.
That means she's playing, I guess.
Yeah, a spider, squat, scouts. Sorry, scouts.
That's cool.
Yeah, spider. So she loves that. Crazy things they do here in Denmark. I've never heard like 48 hours in a sleeping bag, and then you get like one of these little marked
Badges.
badges. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's not like helping old people over the street badges anymore. It's
I have a full confession. In America, it's called Girl Scouts, right?
Girl Scouts. Yeah, but it's blend.
Yeah,
It's boys and girls.
yeah. But I used to love the outfit. I remember I was like 8, and I loved the Girl Scout outfit when it had a sash that you would put the badges on and everything. And I'm like, I don't know about being. I just want to wear that outfit. And so I joined the Girl Scouts for the outfit, and then I found out that I had to actually do stuff to get the badges. And I was really not excited about that option at all. I thought I could just get the badges, so I didn't last very long.
Oh, that's a bummer. Like, oh no, I really have to do something.
Yeah, I have to sew. I've never been one for sewing. I have to sew to get this like cool sewing machine badge. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. So, but
Yeah, my daughter has the colored.
she sounds like she has full badges earned.
Yeah, like and how is it called? Olsenbanden,
Yeah.
yeah, they had a weekend of watching all the Olsenbanden, so they got the badge for that. Like seriously, uh, of course, you got like a axe and a knife and starting a fire, and I think they make 200k kilometers this summer in on
Wow. Good for
Fyn,
her.
Sydfyn.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So she will have to walk home from school to prepare, right? So, and she's gonna get some lightweight stuff for the backpack. So it's gonna be interesting. Interesting. She was in Finland with her scouts last summer.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, she loves it. It was actually I did an ayahuasca ceremony because I was so down and blocked. And in the pre-show, we talked a little bit about this wanting to get out, and so I thought like that might open up myself more to myself. I didn't really see or experience much. I knew very well where I was, but when we left, we had to share, or we could share if you wanted, what our experiences. And I one of the things was like to connect my daughter with nature more, and I just see that somehow happened because she's really doing this craziness in nature, and she loves it.
What a wonderful outcome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So now we know each other a little bit better, and the ice is broken. Uh, what are you actually doing now, or what are you passionate, for the talk? You wrote a book about creativity, so what else are you doing? Where are you now in life?
Well, I feel like I have given myself the space to explore and experiment a lot more than I ever have before. And even though it feels really scary and frightening sometimes, it also feels thrilling and like really kind of being alive. I left my creative agency job around 4 years ago to start my own business. And that was that was a leap of faith. And also it's been a really exciting roller coaster ride where I feel like entrepreneurship is a meta lesson or practice of redefining or shaping my relationship with life, because you never know what's coming next. You never know what's going to happen, how it's going to pan out, where your salary is going to come from, what the project's going to be. And I get to choose how I want to be in that uncertainty. And so it feels like I'm leaning into trust, like, okay, I can either move with fear like I used to, and I'm not interested in moving like that anymore. It doesn't mean it just goes away. I have to catch myself when I feel the fear energy motivating me. And it was a motivator, which is why it hung around for a long time, sometimes unconsciously. And now it's like, okay, well, what happens if I trust instead? And that's opened up a lot of possibilities for me. It brought the book into my life. I don't think that would have happened if I was in a more structured environment. I just wouldn't have seen it, been open to, and had space for it. And it brings a lot of other great creative projects and ideas, and just the possibility of anything can happen, which, as I said, can be terrifying, but also really thrilling. Like, anything can happen. Whoa. And just opening. So that's sort of what I'm up to. I'm like moving in that space and creating and seeing what emerges, and building the business. Also leaning back more. Like when I first launched, I had an idea of what the business needed to be. And then when I sort of started to let it go, and I'm like, okay, let's get curious instead. What kind of projects are coming my way? Like, I'm showing up for stuff. I'm not just sitting on the couch, but like, what's coming my way? And it's been interesting. So it's a cool journey.
So, what is it exactly you do? You're coaching creative businesses, or?
I call myself a creative partner. That's sort of the best way I can come to describe it, or creative midwife.
Yeah.
So I hope people create, people who do things differently to make a difference. So I work with founders, executives, and creatives and artists who are looking to create something and make something real in the world, whether it's a project or it's a creative venture or it's a brand or it's a business. And I use coaching as one of my tools in the kit. And I use my experience working as a creative in agencies for many years as well, everything from brand strategy to copywriting. And together they form the mixing board for the music I get to compose with the people I work with. And it's quite exciting. Usually people come to me, or companies come to me, when they're at like a sticky juncture in life where something in their business used to work successfully, doesn't work anymore, or they're on a pivot point where something else is calling them, but they're not sure what it is, or they've been stuck somewhere and they have a calling for what it might be, but they need to get clarity. So usually it's at these sticky junctures that partnership is really required. And depending on where they are, I will design a creative journey together with them
Wow.
based on what they're looking to do.
Wow, that's a nice description. I just also how you present it. It's full of, I don't know, pictures and words. It's so wide and full of. I don't even know. I don't have the words as you have. I can see, but that's beautiful. So how did you get there? I mean, now I read the introduction on your book because I had time, but I forgot, and kids, and
It's
I
okay
took care of the
when
kids and all that stuff. But I love the introduction of your book, and it talks about letting go, breaking down, all kind of, all the beautiful things in life, all the things you will see. So can you bring us a little bit in that journey, why you are where you are now?
oh, that's a huge question.
Yeah, we have
Uh,
like What do we have?
How I am where I am. Oof. Well, I think life, first of all, I think creativity doesn't just live in the domain of artists and artistic expression. That is one manifestation of creativity or a way of exercising creativity, but it's one. I believe that we are natural born creatives. If you're a human, you're an artist at work or at play. And I believe that life itself is a creative process. We are a creative process. We are more in process than we are at any fixed place at any point in time. And we get a chance to create our experience. And so, okay, get back to your question. So where have I come from in distraction? So part of a creative process to me involves these extinction moments, where something has to die for the next idea, version of you, business, you fill in the blank, to be born. And oftentimes those can feel very uncomfortable and challenging. But when we release into it, this kind of extinction moment, and then allow ourselves to stay in the void or the space when what is about to be born is still being formulated and formed, and tendons are connecting, and joints are locking, and all these things are happening, and building capacity to stay in those moments allow us really to fully express our next creative evolution. Right? So I'm very excited about that cycle. Because it's what I notice in myself and my own experience, and what I notice in my clients. So when we hang on to something that's past its due date, it can create a lot of internal friction and tension and like dissatisfaction. At the same time, it also creates a sense of safety, right? Because we know it. So it can be hard to release into that process, into that creative process. And to not only apply it to what we create and make real in the world, but also to ourselves. How we grow as creative beings, as we evolve, and then applying that to our lives, I think is very, very fascinating. And part of the book, back to your question, is a big question. So there's so many doors that I can walk through in this question. Back to the book of how that relates to my experience. Well, I think there was a time where I was very much caught in a life that I had long outgrown, but I had no idea. I went through whose divorce is easy? I went through a very challenging divorce. I rebound and latched on to an unhealthy relationship because I was afraid to be alone. I forgot what it was like, even though I left my house at 17 years old. I should remember this thing. But at the time I had forgotten. I overinvested in work because I felt lost. Right. So all these things were happening as me hanging on to things that I had outgrown or weren't good for me, instead of just allowing the extinction moment to happen, because I was afraid of being in that void, that in between. So yeah, I think the book is very much about stories of how I lost and found my creative power in order to invite people to access their own creativity and apply it to the design of their lives. Because creativity is much more than something that we do. It's a way of being in the world. And when we, can reconnect, because it's always there, to our creativity and our creative agency, we get to shape our experience. And I don't know about you, but I can't think of anything more creative than designing your one experience of this here life.
Yeah, I got that much also from the introduction from your book, and you also answered. I had here, what is creativity, and you already kind of. It tends to happen when I have podcasts. I have a thought in my head, and somehow my guests are answering it without me even asking it. And you also mentioned like creativity is not art. It's basically the whole thing. I have this like, what is art? What is creativity? What is the difference between them. And another question I had in my head, because you move in so many things, at least with your words, that I'm like, okay, so what is your creative power? Is it writing? Is it music? Is it visual art? Is it, I don't know.
It's my level of awareness and my ability to catch myself when I'm stuck in old inherited stories and rewrite my script to change my relationship with life and my experience of it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely ultimate creativity, to create life. But I know I'm at fault, and I've been pondering and thinking about exactly that. Like, how can I create more in my life? Because I don't feel, to be honest, feel like as the create. I know I create the situation because I wake up and with my actions, with my thoughts, I create. But it doesn't feel like I'm really creating anything. It feels more like I'm, yeah, existing. It-
Well, what, okay, if you would travel with me in your wildest imaginings, like where would you be in 1 year from now if you can design and create any space?
Moving around the world, meeting people, having discussions, learning from people, especially like, indigenous people and their wisdom, something which is different than what we normally learn. Visit different places, just get to know the planet. I'm really curious about all these different sites, natural or built. That's what I've always wanted to do, and somehow I don't feel that I enable that. I'm just so
What would enable that?
uh, I don't know. I always say freedom is the word in my head, and I connect freedom with a certain financial stability, because I'm divorced. So there's a certain amount I have to pay every month for the kids. I have a dog, and there's an apartment. Obviously, I could get rid of everything in the apartment, and then I would be free to travel. Uh, and then I'm always like, okay, but if I would do that, how will I then finance? And it's this insecurity, which I know it's in me, because there's always a way, right? I'm 47 and I have always been able to get food and shelter and everything.
So, in this year from now, where you're traveling the world and connecting to different places on earth and indigenous people and having these very meaningful conversations, like how often are you traveling? Do you have a place in
No,
Hanning? Are you, what is it? Add
I,
some texture and color for me.
yeah, you don't know me. So I live here in Hanning in a
Yeah.
apartment. It's not the smallest because I have the kids once in a while, but it's still the cheapest I could somehow find, so I can afford it. And traveling has been for me the last 4 years. After the divorce, I moved out, and then a year later, I went 2 months traveling. I put my things at in a friend's living room. Poor guy, he had a lot of boxes, and and then I was in my car with my dog going to Sweden, Finland, Norway, and back to Denmark. That was kind of like my try to have time for myself. But I was in a Peugeot 208, which is small, so there was not much space. And else, I was traveling to Switzerland, mostly supported by my mom or my dad that I can go. So I don't feel like I have this possibility actually to travel.
What stops you from traveling?
Money, finances, to be honest.
Okay. If money wasn't an issue, where would you go? What would it look like?
Like going around the world, just places I've not been.
I can hear that your kids are also family is a value of yours. I've heard how often you've mentioned your daughter, so that's clear. So, what would it look like when you're honoring both your value of freedom and connection and creativity, right, through traveling and those conversations and family?
That is what I normally talk with my friends. Like, how can I take the kids with me, going around and actually help them in a different education than just in the school system or YouTube or whatever you want, but actually experiencing different places.
But let's play. Like, what could that look like? You can give me 3 different scenarios. We don't have to have one. Like in this future where you are, money's not an issue. You're traveling.
How it would look like.
Yeah, with the
One of
kids.
the one of the biggest things I normally think of is having some kind of a caravan camper where you can just take the car and you go, and then if you like it, you stay. If you don't like it, you continue with the space with the kids. And then
Okay,
just,
so
but then
one scenario is you're traveling in a caravan with the kids all the time. They're with you the whole time.
kind of, because they're too small to just send back yet.
Okay,
Because
so
if they
that's
would be a
one.
little bit older, then put them on the airplane and they would come here and there. But that doesn't sound fair to their mother.
Okay, so that was one scenario. What's scenario number 2, where you're honoring both the value of freedom and connection and family?
Another idea I had was, okay, what is another possibility would be for NGO to go and help different places. So you're gone for, I don't know, a month, 2 months. I don't know what are these things, and come back. And actually, when I was in Switzerland doing the military service, I was not so happy. I was doing territorial stuff, and we have to repeat every year to in Switzerland. So it's kind of a different service, and you can get out of it, and then you can do the social service. And I got out of it thanks to some friends, which gave me their paper, and I just rewrote it so I can get out. And then I came to Denmark, so it never happened. But if I wouldn't have gone to Denmark, I would have looked for one of these projects going somewhere, India, Africa, South America, wherever, to help with whatever I can, if it's engineering something or whatever it is. So that is another thing in my head, to
Okay.
help out in places they need.
Okay.
But then the
What's a
kids would
third?
not be really there. But then I would see the kids when I'm back, right?
Yeah. So what does that look like when you're back? So you would leave for a couple of months and then come back? Is that what you mean?
I guess so much. Yeah, it's like, I think, like, to go somewhere, it's like 6, 8, 9 weeks at
Okay.
least, because you also need to get there. You need to do stuff, right? It's not just like a week or two. That's not really a project, I think.
And then you'd come back, or
I would come back, but then of course I would need to have a place to stay,
okay.
not at the kids' place. And the
So
third
what's a third?
one,
Yeah.
third one.
Just allow anything to come through. Actually, even you could take a deep breath. Like what comes through when you think of any beautiful possible future in a year from now?
Sitting on a butterfly, flying around the world. Actually, that was the picture I had. There's emptiness, there's silence, no pictures, no thoughts.
Okay.
So these two things are probably, because I've pondered over those things, they came
Yeah.
fast.
I'm going to throw one out there just because I just want to throw, we said 3, so I just want to throw stuff out there and then you can say yes, no, or counter. What about partnering with a media company of sorts who then sponsors your travels to specific countries around the world? Now I'm just playing, right? Because it's just to get you out of the polarity of A or B. It's more an invitation to just get curious and dance a little bit with me.
Okay, that has also been in my head once, because you hear these stories of people photograph. I've done photography for 6 weeks, 6 years, or tried at least. I never really earned enough, but I was thinking like, oh, these guys which travel the world taking pictures of whatever, that's cool. Or podcasting, that would also be cool, to be sent out to interview people, to gather information like that. So I have a lot of different things I did in life.
Okay, I want to ask you one more question. What's important to you about traveling? Because that's the red thread, right? In all these different scenarios, that's the red thread.
It's always been there. Oh, like always. Not as a 2-year-old, but
What's important about it to you?
when I came back, I was always thinking like I want to see the world. I love to watch these documentaries. When I grew up, I do not remember these guys, which showed the nature of America or then South America. And I'm so fascinated by all these things from the world, and it's always been there. So it's because I'm curious, I guess, and I want to learn, I want to see, I want to experience. It's not the same sitting there in the book or watch it on the screen. Of course, it's better than our grandparents. They couldn't even watch it on TV, and we have learned so much more about the world thanks to internet and TV. But I kind of want to be there. I want to experience it.
So what's important about traveling is being able to learn and experience and satisfy your curiosity or cultivate your curiosity
Kind of, yeah.
about different cultures. I mean, how would you describe it? What's important? How would you summarize?
Yeah, it is like that. The experience, the curiosity to learn from others. I just enjoy interacting with people, and that's also why I do the podcast, right? So because then I get to know people and talk to them, and it's very satisfying me. It's one of my personality traits, I guess. It's like talking to people and being curious and wanting to know and wanting to help as well.
Okay. So where does travel come in? Because you're already doing that. Wanting what you just described. You're doing that through the podcast, right? But you're not traveling. So what's important about traveling?
To be there with the people, not alone.
Okay. So is it physical? Because you had a podcast, the physical, like face to face.
Yeah, I had 5 in 6 years.
Okay.
I mean, I also meet people in the shop, but somehow I just all about these nature wonders or buildings or temples or whatever it is. Then you see them on YouTube or you see them on TV or you read about them and you're like, how is it to be there? How is it to feel it? I've never been in New York, for example. I've been in Rhode Island and in
that
Boston.
New York, honey.
And so being in New York in the city, I mean, I've seen Spider-Man and Avengers and all these things. So you see the big buildings, but standing there and actually be there, how does it feel? It's one thing to just look at it on the screen. I just want to immerse in the experience and having felt or seen or touched or smelled or
So you want to immerse in different cultures and environments and experiences that offer you a chance to also get to meet yourself differently and the world differently? Is that what I'm hearing?
Could be. I have never thought it of that way. I just want to see these things. I'm like,
okay, so you want to see and experience different people and cultures around the world.
Places and, from New York and everything's cement and glass and steel and to green nature and big waterfalls and, I don't know, leeches on your feet.
What makes it different than just going on vacation? Because you could do that. You could just go on vacation to those places.
My vacation style was always to go to someone, if I could, that I knew. So not to stay in a hotel. That's kind of, for me, it's okay, but it's not the same because you're not really immersed in the place. It's kind of like you just visit. Of course, still as a tourist like that, you visit. But I have realized when I was in Canada, I know people in Canada, or when I was in Ecuador, I knew people. So it's kind of like different. You're there, you go out with them, you kind of...
Sure.
So yes, I did that before.
But my question was, you're saying travel is important. There are different ways you can travel. You can either travel for your job, meaning that you're always traveling, right? Or coming back, or traveling and coming back. Or you can also just travel to visit a place and stay with a local person from time to time.
Yeah. I don't say I don't want to do that either.
Well, which would you rather do?
Actually working and staying a little bit longer, because I have to think, if you do vacation, it's kind of like a 3-4 week thing.
Okay.
But if you work there, because I can also get bored just sitting there for 3 weeks. Depending, of course, if you go to Egypt, I guess 3 weeks will fly past when you look at all these different things.
So here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing your values. Now, you can tell me if I'm capturing them correctly, but your value of curiosity is a value of yours, right? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
There's a value of connection, right? Connection to people, to places, to cultures. There's a value of freedom, clearly, first and foremost, right? You have your value of family, and then there's a value of like learning / growth / development, right? So these are core values to you. There might be others, but that's what I'm picking up on. And when we live in alignment with what matters to us most, it feels fulfilling. And so there are different ways that you can live in alignment with these values. And that's why I was asking you in a year from now, what are 3 different scenarios? Well, I could live in alignment by doing the caravan, but maybe I'm not really honoring the value of family that much because that wouldn't be very nice for my ex-wife. So maybe I could also do something to help through the Swiss support or an NGO or something like that, because that's another value. Help / support, like impact something. We can find a better word, but there's something very important about being able to help others. Okay. So that's a part of the value chain or your tapestry.
Exactly.
And then the third one is, maybe having a chance to partner with a media company or someone to be able to take your podcast to these different places in the world and interview people, right? And then come back home. Same with the second scenario. You would return home after those 2 scenarios, you're gone for like 6 to 8 weeks, and then you come home to be with your family, and then you go again in whatever time you think, 1 month, 2 months. That's up to you. I don't know.
Yeah, but you pretty much got it well here.
So my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Which one of these scenarios feels like a 10? Like, yes. And if none of them do, tell me which one, what would feel like a 10?
Nothing feels like a 10 because of the fear factor. Because there's like an underlying fear, which is hard to describe. I think that's also.
What are you afraid of?
Yes, exactly. Most of the time, say just to die alone on the street somewhere, unforgotten. When I was thinking like, okay, the caravan, and then like, oh shit, and then I'm hanging somewhere, and because I traveled 2 months in Scandinavia, because I'm in Scandinavia, I don't know how much longer, so go and get to know Finland, Norway, Sweden. At times I felt really stressed alone in the car, and I think that's the fear of this feeling of being completely lost, or of feeling like I did something bad.
What made you feel like you did something bad in that scenario?
What if I get in a really bad situation with the kids and then it's my fault? It's weird, but this is what just comes up now.
Sure.
Because I was like, okay, what is the fear? Because I looked at it like, hey, that should be it. And then there was like this fear factor, and like trying to understand, right? Why holding
if
myself back?
If you could give it a name, like this fear, like if you could name it, like what is it that you're afraid of?
The word that comes up is dying. It's like always dying, death.
Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest universal underlying fears is death, but death can also be a great liberator in many ways. One is because you're going to die anyway. Like there's no avoiding it. It's going to happen and you don't know when. Bump, bump, So how would it feel if you found out you had 5 years to live? What would you do?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a question.
Most probably exactly this, jumping in a caravan and say goodbye.
Would you, given your value of family? I mean, how would you honor all your values?
Exactly. Then the stress is with the kids. Like goodbye. The kids are with me now. Exactly. It doesn't work.
That's why it's interesting to use your value of curiosity and to get curious about what would. Sure, that doesn't work. Okay, what might work?
Okay, curiosity.
Yeah, you get to get curious about yourself. What does your gut say? Let's drop in. Let's drop into your gut. Forget about the head.
Yeah, that one has been long suppressed, so it's very hard to connect with the
How
gut.
about your heart? What does your heart say?
I'm very much mental focused, and it's been the last 10 years. It's the trial of getting back to the heart, to the
Well,
stomach, to
well,
intuition. But what would make sense in what you shared as well, it is the value chain of
mm,
family, curiosity,
mm,
connection, freedom.
mm.
Most likely is working for an NGO, traveling and come back.
Okay, how would that feel on a scale of 1 to 10?
That's like they're up on a 9, 9, 9, 10.
Okay.
But
So what's stopping you from doing that?
because I didn't find anything yet.
Okay.
I'm looking here and there, and I haven't really found the thing that, like, hey, there we go.
Here and there?
Yeah, because I was doing, I was at school as carpenter learling
Mm,
apprentice, and could barely pay my bills, so I had to work on the side
mm.
and have a dog, and then the kids, and blah blah blah. The last 2 weeks, I was helping out with the kids, and when I'm with the kids, I'm basically everything else is just.
Sure.
I'm not doing anything else. I just try
So,
to play with them.
of course. So honoring your value of family. So what's next? Like, so what could you do? What could you do next? What's a big step, big small step you could take next?
The big small step.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a life changing, but just like what would be one step in that direction based on the context and what you described?
Yeah, looking more at NGOs and figuring out more how they work and how to find NGOs.
I'm going to share what just an intuitive hit came up. You can take it or compost it.
Yeah.
What if you asked some of your network, if you shared some of your ideas and dreams about what it is you could do with people that you're meeting with or talking with or people you know?
So far, I didn't get any feedback. I shared with people sometimes, but it's not really big on LinkedIn or Facebook, if it's that.
No, I meant like email, reaching out, phone call. It just popped up for me. You can do what you want with it. It's just more.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just like no one comes up in my mind. I could ask,
Okay.
like that.
So looking into NGOs, that was your next step.
Yes, network? Question mark. Who knows? I mean, the universe has funny ways of doing things.
Yeah, it can feel vulnerable to ask.
Now, it could also be now that we talk about it, suddenly something
Yeah.
pops up.
Well, it sounds because this is how we got here. You said sometimes I don't feel like I don't want to put words in your mouth. You said something along the lines of sometimes I feel like life is kind of happening to me, right? That
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just and I'm not a creative agent in my room. So what we just did there was got curious about clarity. Like, okay, wait a minute. What is it that you really want to create? That was the journey we just went on. We
yeah.
got curious. Like, what is it that you really want to? What's important to you? What do you really want to make real in your world? Where would you like to be? What's important about that to you? We just kind of went on that journey. And so now what I'm hearing where we landed is maybe you had this clarity all along, but it feels clear to me.
Yes, yes. I think the underlying thing is the value of family, which is kind of holding me really back to how can I make that work.
But that's where, and I also think, and we don't want to make your value. You can choose your top 5 core values, but you're a creative being. You're a naturally creative being. I am sure. Here's this. I'm going to give you a piece of field work. Think of 10 different ways that you could honor all your values and create a future that feels like a 10. Create your next step, your next creative evolution that feels like a 10. And I invite you to play with it. Just have fun. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be realistic. It's a brainstorm. Like, okay, 10 different ways that I can honor all these values and do the thing I'm being called to do, which is travel and connect with people and see different cultures and immerse myself and experience and do this.
Yeah. So now you jumped ahead in the podcast. So
Will you do that, Oliver?
yes, that's kind of like I think a lot about like how can I put these values, how can I put all these things in my life. and now that's 10. We have looked at, I don't know if that's 1 or 3 we looked at, and then there's still a lot of other possibilities. I
Yeah,
mean,
tons.
and that's the thing. When I started the whole, oops, microphone stand still. Uh, uh, I started the podcast in 2019 because I did a master degree in business engineering and radical innovation management,
Wow.
and I couldn't land a job. And I said, okay, instead of just continue looking for jobs, let's interview people on creativity, innovation, um, startups, and that was the goal, right? To get better in creativity. And then I was always thinking, like, okay, you look at yourself as creative, but I struggle with being creative at life.
Mm.
I'm good with, oh, good. I don't know. I'm not a professional super genius in visual creation, but it's easier for me to be visual creative. That's why
Mm.
painting, sketching, um, the little, okay, you don't see it, but the Snediger stuff, AutoCAD, see, and stuff like that. I'm a bit better with that. I'm not a super duper, but the creativity in creating my life, I'm struggling so much, and
Well, I just heard you do a pretty good job of getting clear on what you want to create. Now, we just touched on this,
the
right?
execution.
Yeah, but that's where you can get curious. You can sketch those 10 different things. You don't have to write them. I mean, whatever medium feels. No, but I'm serious. Whatever medium feels good for you, it gets to be a play. You get to play with it, right? It doesn't have to be a plan. It doesn't have to be, oh God, I write this down now. I have to do it. And what happens if I don't do it? We don't need to go to those places. That's why there's 10 things. So it's 10 ways of you to activate your value of getting curious about yourself and saying, all right, cool. You could choose your top 5 values, okay? Whichever one really resonated with you and felt really true
Yeah.
for you. What is it that you value the most, or top 6, whatever. And say, okay, how do I honor all these values? And maybe sometimes some are at a 7, some are at a 10. That's up to you. And find different ways that this could play out in my life that feel really good to me. And just experiment.
Yeah, I get it. It's beautiful, and I think that's a really cool call to action for a creative episode.
So wait, I have a follow up as your question. So when are you going to do this? Brainstorm these 10 things.
After this podcast, I'm going to the sauna. I didn't go the last 2 days, so after this podcast, I go to the sauna. Normally, I have given the best. Not all the time works to kind of meditate and calm down while I'm in the sauna and ruminating on things.
When will you be able to complete it? Or
That's
when
what,
will you complete it? Full stop. You get to choose. It doesn't have to be ASAP. It could be whenever you want. I'm just asking for a date.
No. But for me, it's like if I have it now, then I will do it, because otherwise, with all the other tasks, it suddenly goes. Whew,
Okay.
because
So
that's like,
tonight then, or
yes.
okay. Sorry, I
So
interrupted you.
that's
Now we
like
could. I just needed to get that. You said tonight. We all heard you.
for the people that listen to the podcast, that's like 1.5 years ago. That's 2025 April, Easter 2025, for everyone around the world when it's listening. So back to the question that floated and came back. One of my, I think it was in German interview, I don't remember, but one of my friends in Switzerland, he had a business company, My Camper, which is also in Denmark and Scandinavia now. He stepped down as a CEO, but he told me about the vision board, and he was very surprised that when he found it with his daughter, that 70-80% of the things he was putting on that vision board came to be true in his life. So that's what I'm like, has it been in your life? How did you get things come to you in life? Your visions or your ideas, your desires, I don't know, dreams.
Well, it's really interesting because I think getting clear on what it is that I desire or that I want to create is part of it. So the vision board helps with that clarity, right? And then it's also very sensory and visual. You get to see it. You can even have smells. You can make playlists. There are many, many different ways you can create a vision board. For real, it depends how, like the more sensory, the better. A visualization can also do this as a practice, right? If you visualize the juiciest version of the future. Like it's almost meditative, like what comes up, where are you, who are you with, what are you doing? For some people, that including myself, it can feel quite big. So I like this idea of a day in the life. Like, what is a day in the life in your future, your beautiful, juicy future, right? That you designed. What does it look like? Like get very detailed in a fun way. Like I wake up at this time. Okay, what kind of breakfast do you eat? Where are you? What are you doing throughout your entire day from the time you wake up to the time your head hits the pillow? It's an exercise I also walk clients through, which is really fun because so many values come out of there. Like a sense of like purpose comes out of there. There's so many insights about yourself that you might discover when you just allow yourself to imagine and to just visualize what this day in the life of a beautiful future could be. For most people, the interesting part is it's not a moonshot. It's actually quite accessible. It's not a million miles away. And that's a beautiful realization. And every client I've done that with, it's not a trip to the moon. And I find that fascinating. So that's one thing. So you have all of that work, which is very valuable. And, it helps so much with clarity and getting to know ourselves and all of that. So I'll do that for myself, but then I'll let it all go.
and it happens then? Have you realized when you're very specific?
No, because for me, what I'm learning is if I get too stuck on a very precise idea of what it needs to look like, I'm going to miss out on all the opportunities that might be coming at me because I got too single focused on what it has to be. So that's what I meant by let it go. Like I have ideas and then I let it go and I trust that the universe has a much wilder imagination than I do. Right? Like, and that there are clues about what's important to me and what I want and what matters to me in life in that process. But then I can let it go and I can see what emerges in that space. I don't have to get fixated on, no, I need my house. I need to live in a wooden cabin with a roaring fireplace and go to bed at the, like that's not, to me, that's not the point. And I think it would make life, far more interesting when we get to play. So that's sort of the practice. I hold both. I hold clarity and connection with what's calling me and all the insights about myself that comes with. And then, hey, excuse my language. I'm a fucking fool. I don't know. Like, I don't know what, maybe there are things that are meant for me that are bigger than I could ever imagine, or things that are good for me, or, Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want, but sometimes you find you get what you need, right? Like maybe it's there's something else that I need. I'm not like the master of ceremonies. I'm a creative agent. I play a role, but I like to remain open. So, and I find that becomes a much more exciting as a co-creative process with life than if I start clinging on one version of what it needs to be. That usually gets me in trouble and leaves me dissatisfied. So, and I discover a lot of cool things along the way,
It's funny because I looked at different podcasts and shows and classes. Then you have these different approaches. You have Joe Dispenza's kind of meditations for where you want to go. Then you have Da Silva from, I don't know, 60s, 70s or whenever he was. So I did these classes and I looked at my human design, gene keys, blah, blah, blah. And they say you have like specific, non-specific, active, and not active. And what you just shared is very specific, inactive. That means you do it once and the universe takes care. It's kind of like Da Silva saying, okay, what do you want? What do you see on the screens or whatever different exercise he has there? And then let it go, because if you keep going back to that thought that, I don't know, you find the job or you find the house or you find the partner and you go back every day to that, then you tell the universe that you're not trusting the universe. But in human design terms, it's like, okay, some people, like my ex-wife, she said she needs a house. She wants to move out in June, July. So she has a new house during the summer vacation so kids can get used to it, so they can start a new school in mid-August. Twice it happened exactly like that. And I said, how did you do it? Like, I knew I want to have a house in Billund because she works at Lego, and she forgot about it. And it happened. And I'm like, wow, that would be so cool. And apparently, according to my design, it's like I need to be specific and active. Basically, I need to see it juicy, detailed every morning and evening, or every evening or whatever. And then it will come. And I'm like, I'm just jumping from one idea to the next all the time. And it drives me crazy because of my values, right? Having to really know what are my values, and going into your heart, going into your stomach, this intuition.
Yes.
And that balance. And for me, it's like, I'm in Denmark, but I don't really want to be here anymore. I feel kind of trapped because of the kids, but of course there's all the possibilities also in Denmark. It's not that it's bad, it's just like I don't really feel alive here. And then you get into your own head and you don't see the world as it is anymore. You see it through your lenses. You see through your own eyes instead of seeing the reality as reality is. But that's what that's why I ask you, like, so that means you have some ideas, you go juicy and you let it go, and then something comes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be exactly the way you visualize it, but it comes.
No, and I mean that's what works for me, and I think that's actually the moral of the story, if we have to have one, is finding what way works for you, right? Like I could provide tips and tricks and advice and all that stuff, but that's just what worked for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for anybody else, right? And
Exactly.
I think that's where experimentation and curiosity and your own creativity really come into play. Like, I get to try Joe De Silva's way, or I get to make my own way, or I get to, find out more about myself. And I don't know, like I just believe there's something much higher at play here than just me, right? And I think I can have intention, and I can have ideas and I can have visions, but I'm co-creating. It's not only up to me. That's how I feel. And so, and being okay with that uncertainty is what the capacity I'm building. And I find that the more that I can strengthen my uncertainty muscle, the more possibilities I can recognize in life. And I think life is always uncertain. That's the reality. We don't know. I mean, that is the way it is. We can try to say that we create certainty, and we do that in illusion of certainty in many ways. But I think if you look at it for what it is uncertain. Things change. That's the nature of life. You change. The seasons change. Everything passes. Nothing remains. I mean, that's the other thing with vision. Maybe you have a vision a year ago, and a year later, there's a new version of the vision. Then what happens if you didn't let it go and you got stuck? Then you think you failed. Then you think, I mean, it can be, so it's like, I like to accept that I'm this evolving, fluid being in a changeable, uncertain universe. And that helps me open to possibility when I'm not, scared shitless. and that's a thing.
No, I made another exercise with another podcast guest I had, like from, what was it, 23, and she also coached me a bit, and what came out was getting comfortable with uncertainty. So I have like a paper above my bed, getting comfortable with uncertainty. So, but that's what you nicely described, because nothing is certain. It's simply not. I mean, then we get a new president in America, and then everyone gets crazy, and the same can happen in Denmark, right? So suddenly something happens here, and when everyone's like, "What the fuck? We didn't expect that."
I think the certainty that you can create is understanding sort of what matters to you. Like, okay, you got that little you have the value map, right? So understanding what matters to you and what you want to honor in your design of whatever experience, and you can create 10. And then kind of taking aligned action. That's really important. So you can look at your 10 and you'll go, okay, well, actually there are 2 that are quite cool, right? What step could I take in that direction? And how do I really focus my energy there? So anything that takes you away from that possible future, will get a big no, because I can see, first of all, you're very talented, you're very creative, you're very curious, and you'd like to have your fingers in a lot of different pies. Ooh, blueberry, ooh, cherry, ooh, raspberry. Oh my God, you know, and it's a gift. It's a gift. It becomes, in my opinion, because I have a similar thing with something else, I think it becomes a curse when you allow it to drive you and you don't drive it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
get to
agreed.
choose. So when you drive in, you're like, okay, no, now I'm gonna try that pie and that pie because it's serving me in some way, right? It's not leading me, and I'm running amok in the pie shop and taking metaphor too far. But anyway, so it's like then making a choice, taking action that's aligned with that, and everything else gets a no, not now. No, not now is a powerful one, rather than just no. So when the other things are calling you, it's like, yeah, maybe another time.
Yeah.
Not now. Right now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm directing my energy this way. And I don't know, that's the invitation, Oliver.
Yeah. That thanks. I take that invitation. Let's see what if there's any new ideas popping up, which I've been looking for. Because that's what my friend said. Why do you look at astrology, human design, all these things? I'm like, I've been going to Vipassana. I did ayahuasca. I have been meditating. I did Wim Hof, and this intuitive hit didn't come. So I start to look at, okay, so what is my design? Okay, according to Ayurveda, I have, okay, I'm tridoshic. That means this and this. According to astrology, I have these and these things. So my moon is in Gemini. That means a lot of ideas, a lot of talking. The moon is very changeable, right? So it's changing fast. My second house, my moon is in the second house, which is material. That means you can have times of a lot of money and times of probably being broke and having nothing. And then I'm like, okay, I start seeing patterns in my life, but it still doesn't show me my values. It kind of, these things show me and give me feedback where I can see, yes, I can see that in my life. And people say like, why do you trust in that? Why do you believe? I'm like, I know my life. I can see how I feel. I can see how I think. And I can see these things are pretty damn straight on, but it has not given me the values
Yeah.
and the intuitive hit where to go. Right? What is my next step? How do I align my actions when I don't know what direction I go? I go direction Africa, but actually I want to go to Russia. Oh, perhaps I should go to Eskimo land, or I don't know where. Right?
But
Then you
then,
walk one
yeah,
way and you're not going anywhere. You go in circles.
yeah. Two things I'm hearing. So one is when you understand that the value of exploration / discovery / connection, like all these things together, that's what it's about. So it's not really, it doesn't matter if it's Africa or Alaska, right?
Yeah.
It's just about being in a different culture and being able to experience people and get a sense of a place. That's actually what matters. Then you see you've let go of how it needs to specifically play out. Okay.
Yeah.
That to me is a very powerful example. And the
Like,
second thing you said that caught my attention before I forgot was you said, you're doing ayahuasca, you're doing all these different things to try to get intuitive hits.
yeah.
That's a belief. There's a belief there. The belief is that those intuitive hits or the ability lives outside yourself. It's other things that will give you what you already have. That's what I'm hearing. I could be wrong, because another way is that you already have, your intuition lives within you. It's like it's a part of who you are.
Yes, but I don't feel it, and that's what is annoying me.
What does it feel like?
It's sometimes what I've realized is when with some people when I talk, I just say something, I get just in a certain topic, and I have no idea why, and then they're like, "Thank you, I really needed to hear that." I'm like, "How did I have that idea to talk with you about this or that?"
That was your intuition.
Yes, but it's not like I feel anything. I'm just talking about it. It just
But
comes out of my mouth.
but then that's how your intuition speaks to you. And that's what you can get curious about. You can actually get a little notebook and see, when do you have these intuitive moments? And that means your intuition is I forget what it's called. Is it claircognizant? It's like a
Yeah,
download.
it's like claircognizant.
It's like a download, right? Like, and then it comes through you in speech,
Yes.
right? So, that's how my intuition speaks within me. And then if you get more curious, you could try to capture those moments and see,
Should
because
I
I
have a
believe, I'm sure it's already happening.
Yeah, I know. So everything you say, I know it's in me. It's not ayahuasca which gives me. It's not the meditation. It's these practices. For me, I try to like open the doors so I get more into me. Like help me, like
How
some
do you know when you're more into you?
when I'm not
How will you know?
when I'm kind of calm, relaxed, and nothing really disturbs me.
When was the last time you were calm and relaxed and nothing disturbed you?
I'm sure it must have happened sometime lately, but I always remember being like 23, 24, so like half of my life back, where no one really could bother me. Like people attacked me, like, yeah, whatever. That was a short period during a summer vacation. But I'm sure I had that also in between. I just have forgotten about it.
So you said you'll know that you're connected to yourself when you feel calm and unbothered and relaxed. Is that what I heard?
Yes, when I'm just like, when things happen to me or people talk, and actually normally should really settle me off, should me trigger me in
Yeah.
certain ways that I'm getting defensive or aggressive or I don't know, angry, and I just I cannot be bothered. It's like, okay, whatever, it's okay. I know what I'm doing.
Well,
I'm on the right path. Kind of like I had that feeling, as I said, around 23, 24.
well, that's an idea, right? That's a story you're saying. You say, I will know when I'm connected to myself, when I'm unbothered and relaxed and calm. Okay, and you believe that because when you were 23, you felt it.
That's what I remember, right?
Okay, I'm going to offer you a different perspective. What if your triggers are a way of connecting to yourself? That there is something about yourself that is being shown to you when you get triggered. And it's an opportunity to activate your curiosity. Go, what the hell? That's interesting. Why did that person bug me? Oh, they were stepping on my value of freedom. That's why. Oh, how interesting. So, not necessarily judging yourself because you got triggered, guess, welcome to the human club. You know what I mean? Or trying to be a version of yourself that is completely yogi, unbothered, floating above the world. Nothing wrong with that, but it's an idea. So I just offering you a different perspective. I'm not saying
No, 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 no.
anything
But
is right or wrong.
that's good. I mean, I didn't feel off the body back then. I was feeling very grounded. I felt
Okay.
very much in myself.
You're also a different version of yourself back then. You were 23.
Yeah, that's kind of a long time ago. There's a lot of food came and went.
But it's just, maybe it's getting curious about how this version of Oliver here right now connects with himself.
Yeah, and what you said again, my friend yesterday, my Texas friend, said pretty much the same. Like, use your triggers to find out.
Well, maybe connecting with yourself is just getting curious about yourself and sitting with yourself and not necessarily judging yourself about what you need to do or how you should be or why am I, all of the blah, blah, blah that gets in our heads, that inner saboteur voice.
Exactly, and then we come back to the not thinking too much. It's kind of like this negative self talk, like, oh, why did you do that again? And
Or if
blah
you
blah blah.
think a lot and that's kind of just how you operate, accepting that and then flipping the switch. So when the negative thoughts come in, oh, what if I fail? And what if I die alone on the road? And what if, all of these things? Well, if you can play that what if game, then why don't you play it positively? What if I succeed beyond my wildest expectations? What if I die surrounded by my family who loves me? What if I take that risk and I discover new parts of myself in the world? Like onward and onward and onward. So instead of saying, I wish my mind didn't do this, I think a lot. I think a lot. I've heard you say that a few times in this episode, that you think a lot. Well, okay, let's use it. Let's use the fact that you think a lot. Let's just flip it.
Switch, yeah. uh, when I went to therapy from the Kommune, they said the research showed people get depressed not because of negative thoughts, but of overthinking, because not having a break like the mindfulness, the meditation.
Mm.
In the beginning, it's all positive, like how do I solve the problem? Most of the time, intelligent people end up more depressed and stressed or suicidal because they have a problem and they're just continuously thinking on how to solve the problem. And then eventually it gets negative. And that's when then the problem gets really bad. It's the overthinking. And that's where this mindfulness and meditation, you know, say not now. Now it's time to reboot. And
Yeah.
and so the tool she gave there was like, okay, give yourself, if you have problems, let's say with your partner or at work or these typical problems, say after or before dinner, half an hour between, let's say 5:30 to 6 o'clock, I can sit down and ruminate on that problem to find a solution. Because if I spend 3, 4, 5 hours, I will not find a solution. But and that normally helps people, at least according to her.
Yeah. I mean, when I get anxious, and when I remember, I just catch myself, right? I go, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where are you? I'm here. Okay. How's here? Not that fucking bad, actually. It's pretty. I mean, me and you, we're here right now. Nothing else is real. Nothing else exists. We're just in this moment. This moment right here is real. Anything else is not. This is real. Our bodies are always present, right? So that's why mindfulness, connecting to breath, connecting to body, but reminding myself, anxiety and problem solving, the way you described it to me, live in the future. It's the mind spinning fiction. It's not here. It's not now. It doesn't mean don't try to problem solve. It just means recognize where you are. And that the problem might not even be present in the same way where you are here, right? So that helps me personally, is to remember where I am. Because when I get anxious, it's because my mind is future casting. It's thinking of all the possible permutations of what might happen and blah, 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 because it helps me feel in control. But it's just bullshit. It's I can think about it on and on. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make me feel in control. And the other thing is that helps me is, that's what I mean when I say move with trust with life. If I trust life, maybe I'm not the only one who has to solve the problem. Maybe if I let go, the problem will solve itself. I'm not saying that applies blanket to everything. I'm just saying that sometimes by pushing against a problem, we make it bigger instead of just going, I don't fucking know right now. I'm just going to be where I am. I'm going to enjoy the things that I got because I got some pretty, I got a roof over my head. I have a partner who loves me. I'm about to sit down and make a bowl of penne. I got my playlist on. This is good. This feels good. I'm good. I'm okay. Let it rest. See what happens. That's a test. You could say, okay, the problem, I think that's huge. What happens if I let it go? I think most of the time we'd notice that life kind of steps in and things resolve themselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's also research done, especially the last years with all the meditation coming up, breathwork, and what was it, 70, 90%, something like that, of all the problems we think about that never happen.
Yeah, exactly.
They never
Exactly.
come. We just think about them. And when they come, you can think about it when they come, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where presence comes in, like being present, right? Because if we're thinking about all the problems that we might have in the future, right, we're not where we are. We're someplace else, and we're in the mind's fiction. It's like, and I think it's okay. We shouldn't, not to get judgmental. I think that's part of being alive on this uncertain spinning rock. Like, we want to create a feeling of certainty, and feeling like we're thinking about the problem makes us feel like we're doing something about it, right? But it's not true necessarily.
No, but it's also entertaining sometimes. I guess that's
Sure.
when we entertain ourselves. We are bored, and then it's also kind of learned, I would say, sometimes that
Definitely
that
it
you get,
can be. But the
but
question is it working for you? It's not to judge it. Listen, if that's working for someone, do it. Like, just ask yourself, is this thing working? Is thinking about my problems ad infinitum working for me?
what I realized now that the 4 weeks of VCAR temporary work I did, I'm like, okay, you didn't have to go to school and do all these things to work like that. But I realized I'm not really thinking at work. I'm just working. And I had a discussion with a friend of mine 4 years ago, 5 years ago, perhaps. I don't remember. I have it on, also noted down. And she also said, let go of all the thoughts. So you don't have to narrate what you're doing. You don't have to say, now I'm cutting an apple and I cut it in 6 pieces. I don't know how she was thinking in the head, but I know sometimes when I was working, I kept myself busy in my mind. So, and now I'm just working, like putting the screws together, painting the floor, whatever it is, right? Without having thoughts. And before that, I had thoughts, but I cannot even remember what kind of thoughts I had, basically. But a lot of time was kind of preparing, okay, after you have done that, you need to take these 5 screws and these 5 whatever, and then you put it like this, but you were not there yet, but you already were thinking. Or I was bored, I'm like, okay, how can I make it faster? So, you know. But I don't do that anymore, I realized. So
Well, it sounds like that's why you went through that experience.
yeah. And we grow, right? We
Meaning
change.
you went through that experience so you could practice all of that.
Yeah, but at least I'm not. At least I've realized I'm not really thinking. I'm just, there working, and also when I'm cooking, but I'm not cooking so difficult. So it's very simple food, so I don't have to think too much. Anyway, you said something about you have time until 7 o'clock, so it's already way later. So
Oh, okay.
um, it's 1.5 hours in. It went a bit different path than I expected. Didn't expect personal coaching here.
I hope you were open to that, and I didn't.
No. If I wouldn't be, I would have probably pushed against it.
That's good.
I hope the listeners could profit from that. That's more in my head. Like I hope the ones that listen can get something out of the discussion.
Well, I think sometimes for me to be able to see something unfold rather than having someone tell me how to do something has a lot of value. So I hope someone got something from that.
Yeah, it was a step-by-step kind of like, so they can see, okay, that's how you were guiding me through. And
maybe they can apply some of that if it feels relevant and interesting, apply some of that to their lives. Like, what is it that I have my wildest imaginings in 1 year from now? What would I like to create? Where would I be? Create different versions. And then get curious about what happens when you write those things down. What voice comes up? What belief might be blocking you, or what emotion might be present? And just get curious. Like, as you said, oh, fear's in the room. Shit,
yeah,
And then
or I don't deserve it. It's also another
that's
one.
another belief, right?
What if I have this nice castle and then all my family and friend and whatever partner they don't have it? I'm shining and they are in the shadow, right?
And then what's another perspective?
I mean,
What if I have it and I invite them over and we have like the best time ever in my castle? Like, I guess
yeah,
my
exactly.
point is that, for every perspective, for every way of seeing something, you can challenge yourself to get curious about another way. What's another way you could see that?
But I think
Try them on.
this is a muscle you can learn. It's like, I go for a marathon. Have you been running? No, I didn't. But next weekend I take a marathon. So we always have to, also this creativity and this change of thinking takes practice and takes time. For some people it goes faster, for others less.
What does it matter how long it takes?
That's when we start judging.
Yeah, exactly. So and what it looks like for you is going to look very different than anybody else. And that's a good thing, because then that means it's your thing. Because if it looks like somebody else's thing, then it probably isn't yours. So comparison is a creativity killer. It's futile. It's like, so what? It could take you the rest of I'm on this journey for the rest of my life. Like I don't have it all figured out. Luckily, I think that again sounds like a very closed place to be, but I'm discovering and I'm rolling with it. And again, some days it's terrifying, but most of the time I feel alive. And isn't that the point of being here? I hope.
Yeah,
For me, anyway.
Yeah, it's being alive, and as my yoga teacher says, God didn't create photocopies, so
There
we
you
are
go.
we are different.
That's beautiful.
Especially living in Denmark, you have to sometimes remind people like we're not photocopies, we're different. Yentelo doesn't mean we are all the same. It means to treat people the same
Yes.
and give the
Ooh,
people the same chance.
absolutely. I love that.
It's not like, and I've met so many also now at apprenticeship in school, like, yeah, but Oliver, you have to do this, and otherwise the system doesn't work. I'm like, yeah, but we are not the same. We have different biorhythms. Some people wake up at 4 naturally. Some people, like, the last 4 days I woke up at 8:30. I'm like, oh shit, I have to wake up at 6 again when I work. Like, damn, it shows me
Mm,
my biorhythm is
mm,
different.
mm,
But in Denmark, people have the feeling you just don't want to. If you
mm.
don't fit in the box, you don't want to. But instead of understanding we are different, treat people the same way, give him this. Oh, same way means, yeah, treat them different, but give everyone the same chance
Opportunities. Yeah.
and
So
opportunity.
what you said to me is the key to creativity in many ways. It's when we get closer to our unique expression, because creativity is by definition original. It's original.
Oh,
And what's more original than you? Your ideas, your desires, your dreams, your blockers, your all of it. Like, they're yours for a reason. Talk about intuition. All of your desires are yours for a reason, right? I mean, and
yeah.
then when we express that, when we get closer to that, when we create from that place, we are being creative naturally.
Beautiful. I don't want to go into other questions because we already spent overtime for you, and I'm very grateful.
So am I.
Call to action we have. So, is there anything that is on your heart right now where you think like would fit uh, to this discussion we had, or
Well, if we invite anyone who resonates with some of this into the process you went through, then it's the last step would be to also take aligned action. And it doesn't have to be this huge micro action. It could be a micro step, but that feels very aligned. So, for example, starting to not only research NGOs, but find people that have the position that you think would be awesome to have, and reach out to them on LinkedIn to set up 20-minute discovery curiosity calls, for example, right? So it's just getting curious about what might be that first big needle moving aligned step in the direction of what you desire or what you want to create might look like.
exactly that would be in my case? People, it's not for all of you, an NGO and
No. That was just an example to bring it to life. So that, yeah.
Super. Now we didn't really talk much about your book. We just mentioned it about your way of creativity. You're breaking down the marriage, the job, creating something new out of it. And you start the book with being on a train in Russia and something with a yurt and what was it? Noodles, I think, and a camel. And I'm going to read definitely more now that I started it because I really love the way you you write, and I can see it is from you because the way you spoke in this interview, it's like, wow, I don't recall someone using so many flavors in words as you did.
Thank you.
It was very interesting. And where can people find you, and what is that book, and is there anything else that is important for you?
People can find me on collective.studio. So that's collective written in Danish. So
Oh,
KOLLEKTIV.studio, probably in the show notes because that was a mouthful. And the book is available on Amazon and bookshop.org, primarily those two channels.
and
Other
it's
places
called
too.
Great.
Welcome to the Creative Club. Make life your biggest art project.
Yeah, there we go. It's
And
not
if
only
anyone has any questions, this is what just came through. If anyone has any questions they want to put to me or to you about this episode or anything we discussed therein, if that's okay with you, I'd say bring it.
I always mention that, people don't forget to send some comments, because otherwise I don't know. I always love it when I get a comment from someone which got something out of it, or they reach out to me. Then I know I'm on the right path, and I don't do that for myself only. Of course, I love to interact with people, but I also want to share something and give people hope or an inspiration or something. And I got one or two people say thank you for that interview, because I was this breakdown of my spiritual component, and I was really in this breakdown phase of life, or I'm still in there, and I can see it's so similar to what your guest shared, and I can see the guest came out of it, so it gives me hope that I'm on the right path, and that's what it is about.
And I can see how you honor all your values in doing exactly what you're doing. I just heard help, impact, connection, curiosity, creativity, and exploration, right? It's all
Wow.
right. It's all right. It's all right here.
You're very observative. Thanks. So, people, thank you for today, and see you for another episode then. And have a great whatever morning, afternoon, evening.
And if you have a chance to visit Denmark or anywhere else where there's a sauna goose, Oliver and I can highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's all over Denmark, by the way. There's also
Mhm.
actually a group where you can find out, and you can be a guest sauna guest in another
Maybe you
group.
should put that in your show notes.
Wow, I have to find it then again.
Oh, we came full circle. We made it back to schwitzing.
Schwitzing. Yeah, sweating.
Mhm.
Thanks. Goodbye,
Thanks.
people.
Thanks, Oliver. Bye, everyone.
Wow.